Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, it's been quite some time since our last video. It's not been a lot of 40k news coming out, and there's not been a lot to talk about, really. But this past couple of days, there has been a little bit of information dropped, possibly regarding the new Kill Team box set for the Pariah Nexus, which is quite interesting. Today, I'm joined by Chris and Jay. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, just going to recap the very few snippets of 40k related news that have come out over the last week, and just go into more about the Kill Team box set and if the pricing that has, I think it's been released from a shipping manifest, a leaked shipping manifest online, to look at the box set and see, well, how the price stacks up against what the actual contents of the box is. So first off, we'll just rattle through the news quickly. Not a lot of 40k news this week. It's been mostly I think it's been mostly Age of Sigmar related things, because I know they did the preview yesterday, because we're obviously recording now on the 21st. Yesterday was the Lords of the Mortal Realms preview. Don't know if you guys caught it or not. Probably not.
No, I didn't even know it was on, to be fair.
No, it's one of those things. It's Age of Sigmar doesn't really do it for me, but looking at some of the models that have been shown on that are quite nice, particularly the Wraith King, or the right, how do you pronounce it? I think it's like Wraith King was pretty nice. But yeah, as far as 40k news goes, there's only really been one. I think it's Uriel Ventress, the Ultramarines captain. He's been redone, primarified, and he's getting a standalone model released to celebrate Black Library and his multiple novels he's got relating around him. So, Ultramarines players out there, if you fancy fielding this captain in your army, you won't have to wait long before you can get your hand on a new updated primarified version of model, and he comes with his own unique set of rule sets and buffs he can give you guys in battle, which is quite nice. The model's quite nice as well. As far as Space Bros go, very nice little model, bit of character there in the portrayal of him and his stance and whatnot, just to really show off that's a unique kind of captain. It's not like Space Marines need more captains, but there you go, you've got another one.
Can never have too many captains.
You can never have too many captains.
You absolutely can.
Right. Speaking of captains, this ties us back to the actual meat and taters of this particular episode. Now, I've not made a secret of it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, unless GW does something completely egregious with its pricing structure, like, I don't know, for example, charge two different countries basically different prices for this, what amounts to the same thing after you count shipping and all that. That's the thing I'd kind of draw the line on. But as far as why are 5 neophyte hybrids like 32 quid? I'm like, mate, the price is the price. They can charge whatever they want. As far as people, as long as people pay for it, they can do whatever they want. It's their prerogative at the end of the day. But that being said, I think this new Kill Team box set has raised some eyebrows if the leaked shipping manifest is to be, is accurate. So, Jamie, see as though obviously this is being obviously Necrons in there and a unit you have looked forward to for quite some time, like Flayed Ones and the Chronomancer. Why don't you just give us the lowdown of obviously the pricing of this thing?
Well,
and
yeah, what's in the box, I guess, first, just to clarify for those that might not be 100% certain on what comes in this or what's been leaked.
Well,
I can't really remember the Space Marine side. I think is it a captain and some heavy intercessors or something?
Well, I can throw up an image on the screen right now of what's in the box. Basically, this is a copy paste from when GW first previewed it. So inside this particular box, you're going to get one-time Space Marine captain, because you can never have enough of them. All primarified, by the way. You've got the Necron Chronomancer, so E2 HQs. You've got 5 of the Space Marine heavy intercessors, which are a new Space Marine unit. The re-released Necron Flayed Ones. 48 pieces of Necron-themed terrain, but I use the terrain, very loosely. It's basically doors and 48. It's basically Necron-themed doors and Necron-themed chest-high walls. That's it. 34 objective cards, the Kill Team Pariah Nexus book, and 1 times double-sided game board. That is the contents of this box. So, go on, Jay. Furnish us with the information you have.
Well, it's believed to be somewhere around 95 quid in terms of the price in the UK anyway, which I believe is quite a lot for what they're asking.
You would think so, but just before we actually started recording, I loaded up GW's store page and was just having a look at what the rough costing is for various units on there, like looking at the Space Marines, and like a squad of 3 Eradicators is around 3150. A squad of 3 Blade Guard Veterans, 3150. Assault Intercessors, which is a squad of 10. A box of 10 is £36.50. So it looks like a lot of these new units that are coming out in box sets are going to be around the £30 mark. And if you, I haven't had a look at the Necron stuff just yet, but if we sort of use the same sort of price structure for them as well, you're talking 60 quid for just the 2 units already. And then with what characters, special characters as well, they tend to be what, 15, 20 quid, 15 to 20 quid. So, you know, maybe another 30 to 40 quid, you're already up to like the £90 mark on, you know, the costing of just those units singularly, you know, on their own. Plus then you've got, I mean, the terrain doesn't look all that great. I think, and this is what this particular discussion is going to move on to, whether or not GW are trying to be very clever about how they're marketing this and how they're selling it. They've got it sort of under the guise of being a kill team box, but really this has been marketed, in our opinion, or mine and Jay's, because we've talked about this beforehand, this really is kind of been pushed for 40k players who want these units.
Well, it's no secret. I know, Jamie, yourself, you've been looking forward to like new flayed ones for forever, because nobody wants to deal with the fine cast ones, and you know, they're one of the models that needed an update in the Necron army and the Chronomancer as well. I think, Chris, to some extent, you're right. I think that GW is attempting to double dip with this. I think the people who will buy this box set because they purely want to play kill team and that's it will be in the minority when compared to the people who want the particular miniatures for their army, i.e. the Space Marine Intercessors, the Captain, Flayed ones, and the Chronomancer. I do believe that the majority of people will want it to bolster their armies, but when I was looking at it earlier on the week, because obviously that's when we had the discussion, I was being very conservative with the prices. I was saying, right, 5 models in the units, 5, that's like 2 characters, 20 quid per character, I'd say 20, 25 quid. I'm being very, very conservative. Like I said, Chris said, you're probably looking at somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s. But even then, that you're looking at, what, 85 to 90 quid's worth of models, just the models. So if you're only interested in the models and the box set is rocking in at £95, you don't care about the terrain, the cards, the kill team book, or the double-sided game board. So if you just want the models, and let's say you only want half the models, then essentially you're not getting them any cheaper, realistically. And if you are, I'd imagine the savings are really going to be very, very slight. And then you've got to obviously get rid of the side of the box set you don't want, unless you've got a friend willing to go halves with them. It's when you talk about obviously GW's pricing structure, they've was it quite recently with they've increased the prices on a lot of things across the board, and the reason they gave at the particular time, if I'm remembering correctly, if I'm not, you know, don't nail me to a crossover it, but if I am, they were saying, well, obviously with what's going on in the world right now with the COVIDs, you know, logistics and all this in caper, everything's getting harder to do, which I believe, you know, it's a warranted reason, because obviously COVID kind of shut a lot of things down, production, just not so much supply lines, but certainly production with people obviously being off and self-isolated and that kind of thing. So, you know, a slight price rise, I'd expect it, but that was then, and this is now. I think, certainly speaking, obviously for the industry I'm working in, like businesses have very much adapted to working around COVID to some extent. And I was musing to myself earlier that when obviously we come out the back end of all this, will GW drop their prices? Because then it's over. It's back to business as usual. I doubt it, because
What do you reckon?
Well, they're not, are they? They're not. They're going to say, well, everything's more expensive because of COVID, and the price has gone up, and then COVID's not an issue anymore, hopefully in the future. And then will the prices come down? Let's be honest, will they fuck?
Yeah.
They'll, and it just rings to me when businesses use, COVID, fair enough. At the beginning, I'd say that was a genuine excuse, but now, more and more as we get to the end of it, I'd say it's like, you can't really say that anymore, because you've had this much time to deal with it.
Yeah, and I can get the argument over COVID having an impact on a business when it comes to actually supply and demand. So, getting a product produced and out to its consumer base, within a certain time frame. That I can understand having COVID having an impact on. In terms of increasing prices specifically because of COVID, I don't know enough about business economics or anything like that, so I couldn't really say. But it just seems I don't know why COVID would have such an impact on, especially because we've all been aware that hopefully any coronavirus COVID is just a temporary thing. So to increase your prices for just a temporary issue, if that is correct, then just doesn't seem right. Especially when the company has been shown to have made massive profits over this last what period of time? When did they release the profit margins, Jay?
It's been going up for the past 4 or 5 years, mate.
Yeah, I know, but this particular last 12 months, I think it's skyrocketed, hasn't it? And that's probably because of the fact that people have been stuck in the homes and been looking for things to do.
It went up more than the previous few quarters, yeah, I think, but it's still a massive increase every quarter, the report.
So I don't really get if that is correct, Ben, I don't really get the argument. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't quite understand the whole line of COVID's made us increase prices.
Yeah, well, it's not just the COVID, is it? Obviously, in the UK, we've had to deal with the whole Brexit thing. But even with that, I don't think it really warrants it.
No.
Like you say, at the beginning, possibly, but right now, no. Now, as circling back to the box set and these models and the prices and whatnot, you've always got to imagine or remember, GW's models are constantly getting better and more detailed. If you look at, obviously models released now, for instance, Jamie, you look at a Necron Warrior release now and compare it to a Necron Warrior released when you started playing, you can tell the difference in quality almost immediately.
I'm not denying that.
And what with these models, with the increasing quality of the models, you've got to have better molds, better ways of producing them, and those cost a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying that's a justification for it, but I'm just saying as our miniatures get more and more detailed, and they have, then again, charging more for them you're moving past, well, it's just a lump of plastic, but it's what it takes to make that lump of plastic, the molds, the design, because it's not just having the molds, which are incredibly expensive to make and produce and replace when they inevitably break from constantly casting. You've obviously got to have your design team designing models in such a way that obviously they can be put together, produced on sprues and put together, and everything gets more and more complicated as these models increase in their quality.
Yeah.
So that could be another reason we've seen just a general a price rise through a lot of GW's models. I mean, I can personally attest to myself. I mean, G Steel Cult, I'd say right now is probably one of the most detailed ranges of 40k GW have, because it's a relatively new army. Even their bog standard neophytes have a decent amount of detail on. Whereas compared to a Gaunt from a Tyranid army, Gaunts are an old school now, and you can tell Not a lot of detail on them. Your mold lines are quite prevalent, particularly like on things like the old Gene Stealers. I mean, the mold lines on them are everywhere. Require a lot of tidying up. So there is a reason, or that could be a reason given for the price rise of molds generally. But go back to this particular box set, I think it is not worth. If you're interested in Kill Team, which is fine, then fill your boots because it's a standalone game. But like I said before, and I think you pair will agree with me, if this is going to be taken up by the 40k players predominantly to bolster their forces, I mean, Christ almighty, you're looking at what, 25, 30 quid, well, if we're looking at it realistically, for 5 flayed ones. I mean, Jamie, how many flayed ones can you get in a squad?
That will be 20.
That's 20. I mean, Christ on a bike. I mean, unless they release flayed ones like in boxes of 10s, like I believe Necron Warriors are, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I would probably say, being honest, if you're a 40k player and you're looking at this box set, don't buy it. I'm not like, after we've broken down obviously elements of this compared to the pricing online, if that is accurate anyway. Obviously, this is yet to be confirmed by GW in terms of its price. I just don't think you're not making a cost saving by buying this box set. Just be patient, because you might find that you get bigger box sets of these particular units which work out cheaper for you in general. With like Jay with his flayed ones, if he can have squads of, what was it, 20, did you say, Jay?
Yeah, max squad.
Yeah. So you might get a box of 10 for about 38 quid.
I've no doubt that when these get released individually, they will be more expensive than to buy them collectively in this box. Got no doubt about that. So you'll probably still save money buying the box on the individual models.
I'm not so certain. I think people should hold out. Personally, anyway. I mean, it's your money, do what you want, but I would hold out. Also, if this is some kind of sly business tactic to get to kind of maximize profits out of selling these models, by selling them within this box set, I would just say, by not buying into it, you're not then promoting that kind of act, if the people do believe that's what's going on.
I mean, okay, Jimmy, what for you? Because, like I said, me and Chris have no particular dog in this fight, really. I mean, we don't touch Space Marines and we don't touch Necrons. What for you would be? What would you say would be a price point for this box that you'd be like, you know what? I don't play Kill Team, but I want those models. I'd pick that up.
For me to buy this box?
Yeah, for you to buy this box.
I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to deal with having to sell the Space Marines on eBay.
Okay, well, let me rephrase the question. If you were, what do you think would be a reasonable price for this box?
Something more reasonable, probably 50 to 60.
50 to 60?
Yeah.
I'd probably say a more realistic price would be probably 70 to 80.
Why would you say that?
Because I think if you're going 50 to 60, then, like I said,
it's 12 models at the end of the day. Right.
The HQs on their own are going to be knocking in at 40, 45 quid. That's just the HQs. So
two models are looking at around 45 quid, and that's fine, is it?
I'd say it's not fine, but again, where's
the line though? Why are you paying like 20 to 30 quid for a single like marine-sized model?
There's a number of things numerous things you've got to bear in mind with these kind of models, Jay. With the Captain and the Chronomancer, I think GW are expecting people not to buy multiples of them.
Right. What's the sort of the price indication on this? About, was it 90, 95 or something?
95, I think.
95, right. Looking on GW's website, the Warhammer 40,000 Command Edition, which has the rulebooks, everything like that in, it's got a crap ton of models compared to what's in this box, as well as the a gaming board and much better terrain. Right, that is £105. Based on that, this box set is overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here in defense.
Well, don't Don't play devil's advocate. Just side with me and Jamie and say no.
Listen, like I say, I'm playing devil's advocate here because obviously you just want to try and give something a fair shake. We're going back to your question or your statement, Jay. I'd say that pricing individual units like the Space Marine Captain and the Chronomancer at that particular price, GW doesn't expect you to buy multiples of them. It's going to be a one-shot thing. It's not like troops where you have to buy multiples of them to fill up a squad. I mean, I've got an example of Gene Steel Cult. They've got a lot of characters in there, and some of those characters are priced up into the 15, 20s. But you only need one of them. You only ever need one of them. So
I mean, you can have multiple of them, though.
You can have multiple of them, and obviously you're attacking different facets of the hobby. Do you want to have multiple Chronomancers, multiple captains? Do you just want to buy one captain? You don't really collect Space Marines, but you just want to paint up the captain because the model's cool. There are multiple things to that. Are you a collector? You just want to complete out the collection.
Yeah. So you're arguing that making things deliberately more expensive because you're expecting your customers to buy less of them is okay.
I'm not arguing that it's okay. I'm arguing that there's probably the mentality behind it. And again, like I said before, there's a lot of detail on that Chronomancer and that Space Marine Captain. Can you imagine the process and the molds and the design that's required to make that Chronomancer? I mean, those tendrils alone, I bet they are a nightmare to get out of a mold. Those molds,
I bet they are.
Those molds,
the same price. The captain, then they're not the same model, are they? But they're the same price.
This is one of those things where, like I've said to before, like with the argument of GW's pricing, I feel like unless it's something completely egregious, like I made the example to Chris a while ago, with the issue with the Forge Wheel, they're basically charging different prices for the same Forge Wheel model in different areas of the world, even after you consider the logistics, posting, and all that caper. The pricing was different. That's wrong because you can't charge two different people, two different groups. After you've considered transit and all that, the different prices for the same model. Because that's just not on. I don't think it's right when GW charges us £4 off whatever for a fucking incomplete bollocks app. Don't think that's right. But as far as the models go, they've not really got any competition, have they? They've kind of got like a captive model. There are third parties out there who do looky-likey sort of models, but they aren't massively cheaper.
No, well, that they aren't going to be because why wouldn't they be?
Why would they be cheaper? Yeah, I mean, if they're targeting the same
well,
customers, then they're not going to go like half GW's price, are they? They're going to go like 70, 80, 90% of it.
Well,
yeah.
You often find that they're in fact more expensive than the equivalent because they're only selling. They're not going to be shifting the same amount of that particular product, are they? That like GW is going to do because they don't have the same consumer base, so they are going to have to charge more to make money back on it.
Well, yeah, but a lot of those cases, the models are significantly better quality because they're competing against fine casts.
Yeah. I mean, I ultimately, I do agree with Ben. This is, GW can charge whatever they want for their product. Whether or not, if you don't like it, obviously, then that's fair enough. And but it is kind of like the king of the hill, isn't it, when it comes to sort of tabletop hobby, in my opinion, anyway. I think there are plenty of other obviously tabletop games out there, but I think GW, in terms of what it's producing with sculpts and everything like that, is just sitting at the top of that particular mountain now. So they have the right to charge, I guess, slightly higher prices, and there's probably a lot more that goes into it in terms of obviously all the rules and everything, because you've got the rules team that also have to get paid. It's all encapsulated within the price of a model, isn't it, at the end of the day?
From everything from gathering the raw materials to obviously the design, the construction, the molding, the logistics of supplying, the packaging, the sales staff's wages, the keeping the lights on, all that's all that is accounted for. But I get what Jamie's saying, because when you said something earlier on in the week, Jamie, is like it's very anti-consumer, and I think to an extent you're right, but with companies like this, I think, and well, I know what they'll always try to do is they'll try to get to the very limit of, I think, or close to the limit of acceptability. Like with let's just that Necron Chronomancer. So that Necron Chronomancer is probably going to be 20 quid standalone when it comes out. Now, people will pay for that, and as long as people keep paying the prices, then GW will continue to keep manufacturing and selling at that particular prices. There's no incentive for them to stop, and you could argue, I mean, that is well, you know, the capitalist system at work. People will pay.
This is my argument, right? If they brought that model out for 90 quid, people wouldn't buy it, would they?
No, people wouldn't touch it. Well,
No,
you'd have people that would.
Yeah, a few people would, and arguably, you know, a few people buy it at any price that they bring it out at. But like everyone's got like a different line, haven't they? Like how much is too much? And I think GW is very good at knowing where that line is. I mean, where's your line, Ben? If a new model came out, like, I don't know, a Tyranid warrior-sized sculpt and it was 50 quid, would you pay for it?
Would I pay for it?
Yeah, like a brand new Tyranid model.
It would. You know what? I'm not.
It has to very much depend on the model, doesn't it? Like I said, if it's Tyranid warrior-sized one, so what a normal captain-sized model for like Space Marines, so that sort of equivalent model, you probably wouldn't at that price. I know I wouldn't.
It completely, you know, it completely depends on. It's a multifaceted sort of like question, Jamie. Because like I say, if they brought out a 50 quid like Tyranid model that was absolutely biffed and looked like I've made it, then I'd be like, no, because it looks like I've made it.
There's really an argument there, is it? Because obviously it's going to be of good quality because everything generally is.
Yes. So I'd say that I probably would. Bear in mind, Jamie, you're speaking to somebody when the Overkill box set came out, which was when G Steel Cult first came back into the game. Basically, it was like a Death Watch kill team and the beginnings of what later would evolve into the G Steel Cult. And I bought that box set because I wanted those cultists. I wanted those G Steel cultists. And I didn't play Overkill. I had no intention of playing Overkill. So a lot of it is probably still sitting at the bottom of my box right now, doing absolutely nothing. It'll be there forever. It'll completely wasted.
This is another point I've got. Like me, well, definitely you and me to a certain extent, we tend to have a blind spot for this pricing because we don't really buy that many models, do we? We tend to get them gifted or we buy a box every now and then. So we don't really go out and buy individual models, do we?
No.
But it's just since I've had my range review and I'm now looking at the barrel of buying these units individually, it's become apparent that they're really, really expensive.
Yeah, the hobby is
more
expensive.
Point now where I'm thinking, I don't want to pay that. It doesn't feel like I'm getting a lot for my money for what they're charging.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, Jay, I can understand that. I mean, if this was a different side of the argument, let's say this was like a Space Marine Tyranid sort of themed kill team box set, then I probably wouldn't because I'm the kind of person that would, you know, I've got a little bit of disposable income. Not a brag or anything. It's just like I'm that kind of category. I mean, I'm a little bit of a whale in that kind of sense. That I will buy it. I mean, I'm not going to spend thousands and thousands of pounds. I'm not going to go out and buy like a couple of Hierophant Biotitans because I can. But, you know, I probably would pick this box up and try and get rid of the Space Marines to try and recoup some of my losses because, like you said, the general quality of a lot of GW stuff is up to a high standard. I'd be like, God, that would look amazing in my collection. I've just got to have it. And then when I throw down on the tabletop and like bring them out, you're like, you know what? That looks beast. It looks pretty fucking good. And then the satisfaction I'd glean back from that, from obviously getting the model, building the model, going through the effort of painting the model, and I suck at painting, and I don't particularly enjoy it on the best of days, unless I'm right in the zone. But then playing with it and seeing it and using it, that's where I get that. I recuperate that cost sort of in the enjoyment sort of side of things.
I don't know.
Yeah, no one's denying that. We all love the hobby, don't we? That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. I got to admit, my final comments on this would be just to kind of touch on what you've just said to Ben, Jay. If this was kind of flipped around to myself, be it, you know, half of this box set was Eldar, or it was, World Eaters, with the idea that, or, the understanding that these were going to come out separately in due course, I wouldn't buy this. Even if someone turned around and said, do you want to go halves on it, I still would think 5 models and 1 character for essentially 45 quid or a bit more.
You made an excellent point in the week, Chris, and I thought it was a great point. GW could get a lot of brownie points if they said, here's the box set. If you want the models individually, you have to wait till this date when we release them.
Yeah. They're not ruining anything there, are they?
No.
That's basically being pro-consumer, because you're saying, like, this, we are selling this as a box set for the kill team players. However, for the Warhammer 40,000 players, like 40k players, there's no mistaking that these units are coming out separately. So we know they're coming out separately. So they're not giving anything away by just saying they're coming out on this date. So you can just wait till then. But by the fact that they don't,
losing a lot of sales on that box because of 40k players that are going to buy it.
Exactly, and that's the issue that I have with this, because that really does touch on the notion of being anti-consumer, what you said, Jay, because they are doing it to try and maximise profits to a consumer base that isn't buying it for what this box is intended for. So they wanted to try and make as much money out of them as possible. Whether that's right or wrong, the ethics of it, that's down to, I guess, everyone to make their own minds up. I personally don't agree with it. I think it would be a much better statement to its fan base. I mean, because the company does, I think, on the whole, do a lot to try and keep its fan base happy and its consumer base happy. They do make mistakes from time to time, but they have had a tendency to correct those and listen to feedback and make changes. I just think for things like this, when you know a certain thing is definitely going to be coming out like this, they should just give the fans an idea of when that's going to come out, or a release date, to be more precise, and that way you can make your own decision then. And I think that would go down a treat with players. What do you think? If you're listening, if you got this far into the podcast, what do you think? Leave a comment.
I think our closing remarks would be, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that this, unless you love Kill Team and want to play this individual Kill Team sort of scenario, this box is not worth picking up, and you probably shouldn't pick it up for the models. That would be my advice. And Christ Almighty, I hope this isn't going to be another thing that attracts the scalpers.
It will.
I hope not.
It will.
I hope not. But like I say, my closing remarks would be, unless you are diehard into Kill Team and you want to roll around in a Tomb world with some flayed ones and some heavy intercessors and whatnot, and you're just looking to bolster your forces, don't pick up this box. Just wait till another box is released that's more reasonable, or wait till the units come out individually. It's not worth the message you'd be sending to pick up this box set. And I think that's it. Jimmy, you got any closing comments?
Just from my point of view, I've been after those 2 particular models since they announced them about 6 months ago now, and now they're stuck in this box, which I'm not going to buy, so I've got to wait however long until they come out individually. It's just a bit of kicking the balls, really. Right,
out of curiosity, just very quickly then, Jay, on the point that I've just made, would you feel a lot happier about this if GW also announced when they gave a confirmed release date for those models?
It would take a little bit of the sting out of it, yes, but then again, you're asking them to do something pro-consumer to undo something anti-consumer they've already done. So it's not going to happen, is it?
No, I doubt it.
Well, that's it, guys. Let us know what you all think in the comments below. Do you think the box set's reasonable? Do you not think it's reasonable? How would you price it up? How would you approach this particular subject? Like I say, we're always interested in hearing your comments. But until next time, we will catch you all later. See you later.
Bye.